This is Micornus, Phokane, the leader and the founder of the Young Men Empowerment Forum. I want to deal just with some few principles of being an extraordinary leader as a young man, principles of being an extraordinary leader as a young man. And I want to deal with that just for the next few days, and I hope that will help you as a young man. Now, as a young man, you need to be extraordinary wherever you are so that you are recognized as an extraordinary. You become actually a cut above the rest. You become better than your peers. You become a higher level than the people around you. And that's what we call extraordinary. Now, extraordinary, therefore, it would mean that as a leader, you must be somebody that even your peers can look up to. Even the most intelligent amongst them can actually look up to you, knowing that you are extraordinary in most of the things that you're doing. And that's the reason why I want to deal with this, because as a young man, you're not going to just be just an ordinary leader. You must be extraordinary. You must be some individual who's above the rest. You must be an individual who's different than everybody else. And that when people look at you, they marvel at what you're doing. And therefore, they're interested in following you as a leader because of the extraordinary way of leadership that you're imposing unto them. And I want to speak about that because I believe that will help you as a young man and you will become an extraordinary leader. Now, the first thing that I want us to look at is extraordinary leaders have got what we call a hindsight perspective. A hindsight perspective. And I want to dwell on that just for today so that we can understand exactly that a perspective of the hindsight, of being able to look at things when they've passed, things when they've happened already, and reflect on those and say, how better would I have done in this situation? Now, when you look at a leader that is able to do what we call a post-mortem of any incident or happening within their lives, they do a post-mortem of any situation of their lives, what they've gone through, they are able to look at what we call hindsight perspective. And they are able to look at that and therefore become better people from every situation that they've gone through. Now, people with hindsight mentality or hindsight perspective, they value lessons from the past. They basically look at every situation that they go through, whether it's a painful situation, a difficult or an easy situation in their life, they take it as a learning curve. They take it as a learning situation, and therefore they learn out of that, and they make use of those lessons in the future, and therefore they become better of every situation. Now, the hindsight perspective has got a positive attitude behind it because you look at every situation, as I said, whether it's a problem, whether it's a painful situation, you look at it and say, what am I learning from this? Because if you cannot approach it that way, you're going to be negative about every situation. Therefore, you cannot learn from any situation in your life. And that is why people with a hindsight perspective, they're able to look also at the people that they've been with before, the people that they're associated with in their lives. And they look at the things that they've learned from those people. And therefore, they can look at it and say, this is what I've learned, and this is what I can apply. Because remember that when you've got a hindsight perspective, you're going to be able to look at things, some of them positively, and those things that are negative, then you chuck them out. You don't apply them in your life. You learn from that, and you learn to say, this is one way of doing things, but I cannot do this way because that brings wrong repercussions. Now, you study the repercussions of every incident, every situation of your life, and you are able to see those that are detrimental to your life or to your vision or also to your assignment in life. And therefore, because of that, you're not going to repeat the same mistakes because leaders that are having hindsight perspective don't repeat the same mistakes. I want to emphasize that we're having people in life that would do the same mistake every day. And whatever they do, they actually repeat it, and they keep on doing the same mistake. And sometimes they've got this attitude of blaming other people. But somebody with a hindsight perspective cannot blame people. And they cannot do the same mistake because they correct the mistakes that they've gone through. And situations that have been detrimental to their lives, they will not repeat that again. They will not do that again. And that's what we call a hindsight perspective. So therefore, if you want to be an extraordinary leader, as a young man, learn to have what we call hindsight perspective. The other thing with a hindsight perspective people is that they understand the clarity of reflection. So in other words, they are able to reflect in every situation. And I want to emphasize this as a young man, that whatever you've gone through, whether it's actually the background that you've gone through in your life, or the relatives that you have lived with, your own family background, it is actually very important that you sit and reflect on what you have gone through in your life, whether it's culturally or traditionally, whether it's the things that you have actually encountered along your way of maturity, or situations that you've met on the way, or also the people that you might have associated with, whether they become friends, whether it is the people of the family, whether it's the people that you work with, colleagues at work, or even people that you might be with in the church. You're able to look at the type of people that you are living with and see the situations that you're exposed to based on the people that you associate with. And based on that, you are able to understand clarity of reflection. This is very important. And I want to emphasize that every reflection that you make, you must have clarity. You must be able to clear and see clearly every single situation, and be able to reflect it clearly so that you can be able to correct what needs to be corrected. And I want to also emphasize that there are those things that need to be followed as principles, those things that you might have learned based on your reflection. You can be able to reflect, this is right, and I will follow, and this is the right advice, I will follow, and this is the right way of doing things, I will follow. But there are those things that you'll totally say, not with me at all. Because this is very, very important. Your life is so precious as a young man, and when you're going to lead the people, you must be able to have that hindsight perspective to say, we have done this in the past as a team. We have done this in the past with my subordinates, but this didn't work because of this. So therefore, because of that reflection, you are able to make up your mind whether you can repeat the same thing or not based on the outline or the results that you had or the consequences that you faced last time. And based on that reflection, then you are able to make a decision and say, this we cannot do as a team again, but that we can continue doing that because there are better results out of that. So therefore, it is very important to understand clarity of reflection. Because there are many people that reflect, but then they don't have clarity in their reflection. Therefore, they cannot correct anything. They cannot do things better. They cannot improve anything within their lives because their reflection is not clear at all. Learn to have a clarity of reflection as a leader. And that will make you an extraordinary leader, a better leader that will be able to lead others with clarity of reflection completely. Now, the other thing that you find in hindsight perspective people, as a leader, as you have in hindsight perspective, is to believe in learning from experience. And I want to emphasize this because there are many of us that we have got a lot of experiences in our lives. We go through a lot. We meet a lot of situations in our life. We meet a lot of challenges. We meet a lot of problems in our lives. But the problem is we don't actually learn out of that. We don't become better out of that because we are actually doing the same mistakes, as I've said, from the same experiences that we have experienced. You burn your fingers in the fire, but yet you put your fingers again in the fire. How many times we have seen people that have done deadly mistakes in their lives, that have done mistakes that have messed up their lives, and then they continue with the same mistakes every day. And that's the problem that we have in life. And those are people that don't have what we call hindsight perspective. Now, if you want to be a leader that has got hindsight perspective, therefore, you must have a memory enough or a good enough memory that will be able to remember what you've gone through in the past and the results, therefore, that came through so that you can be able to reflect, as we've spoken about, reflecting earlier. When you reflect, then you can remember what was the outright results of the situation. Then you can be able to decide whether to avoid or to continue doing based on the results that it gave you in the past. This is very important. And I'm emphasizing this because many of us, as we don't reflect, and when we reflect, we don't have clarity of reflection, but also we don't believe in learning from experience. And we want to learn from every situation that we meet, while experience could have taught us better. And we would do things better now because of the experience that we have And I want to emphasize as a young man as well, that as you grow, remember that you've got experiences already. Some of the experiences that we talk of is not experiences from your own life. It could be experience of others around you, what they've gone through. They've bent their fingers, and you know exactly where they bent their fingers. You know exactly where your friends have gone wrong. And therefore, these are experiences that as a young man, you can learn from that and decide that I've seen my friend going through such a situation, and these were the results. These were the consequences that were untoward. And I don't want to find myself in the same consequences. For that reason, therefore, I'm not going to go the same direction. I'm going to take an off-ramp. I'm not going to do that because I've seen my friend burning his fingers in the same issues. Now, remember that when you learn from experiences, you must learn from your own experiences. You must also learn from other people's experiences as well. And those experiences come to you because they are closer to you. But there are those experiences also that you have to search from other people. You have to ask questions of how did they make it in life. You must ask questions of how did they go through, what was their life all about. And based on that, you are able to actually learn from experiences of others. And I'm emphasizing this because it's very important that we don't learn only from our own experiences, but the experiences of others as well. You want to be an extraordinary leader? Learn from experiences. Have this hindsight perspective of being able to value lessons from the past. Learn from your experiences. But don't only do that, but be able to understand the clarity of reflection. Because when you have clarity of reflection, you'll be able to make decisions that will be more sound and more better, because you would have actually reflected better and see the clarity of your reflection. I want to end up here today, your host, Micornus Phokane, the leader and the founder of Young Men Empowerment Forum. I hope that you have learned out of this, but we have got materials of this kind that we have put up in our social media platforms, like our Facebook page, Micornus Phokane, our Facebook page, Young Men Empowerment Forum. Our YouTube channel is under Young Men Empowerment Forum as well. A lot of materials that were posted there. Please subscribe, click notification button. Make sure that you are reminded each time we've posted a material of this kind. Don't forget our TikTok account as well, because this is a platform as well where we've put all the materials, and they will help you as you do so. And I believe your life shall never be the same as you use the experience of our social media platforms, and make sure that you learn totally out of those. And the good Lord will bless you as you do so. Allow me to check out right now as you join us for part 2 of this same topic tomorrow. And I want to say cheers for now. God bless you.